because you're not distracted, but yeah, you still know that human interaction. And you don't get that over a TV screen or through your computer.
Make sure this is off.
Microsoft Teams, and that's
Well, that's why I said after I retired, people say, do you miss working? I said, I don't miss the work, but I miss the people.
interaction.
Yeah, because that's your family.
Yeah.
Because you're with them more than you are your family.
Yes.
You know. Are we live?
We are,
I just saw Keith
and I
do
guess
it.
we're on time here. Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call this June 9th, 2021 meeting of the City of Manassas Park Planning Commission to order. The time is 7 p.m. My name is Lester Finkel. Sitting this evening is Commissioner Collier, Commissioner Evans, Commissioner Mensing. Commissioner Beckett is not present. I will read the statement for the record until such time as I'm told otherwise, does not do it. Per the General Assembly's approval of the Governor's amendments to the biennial budget, the Planning Commission may now meet electronically without a quorum actually assembled in a single location and without the in-person Planning Commission members voting on the participation of those who are remoting in. The following benchmarks for the meeting this evening have been met. First, the Governor has declared a state of emergency for the current COVID-19 pandemic in accordance with Code of Virginia. Second, the declared emergency makes it impractical or potentially unsafe for the Planning Commission to assemble in a single location, and guidance from state and federal government support this determination. Therefore, the Planning Commission will be meeting with various members participating electronically through GoToMeeting. Third, the meeting is to discuss or transact the business statutorily required or necessary to continue operations of the Planning Commission. Fourth, the Planning Commission will make available a recording or transcript of the meeting on its website in accordance with Code of Virginia. Fifth, the notice has been and will continue to be provided to the public using available methods. Lastly, we have made and will continue to make arrangements for public access through electronic means, including the ability to comment. If Commissioner Collier, if I may ask you to do the moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Certainly.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next agenda item is approval of the agenda. Any changes to the agenda this evening? Seeing none, would we care to approve the agenda as is? Motion?
So moved.
Motion, second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item is adoption of minutes from our May 12th, 2021 meeting. I do not have any edits to make. Do any commissioners have any edits?
I have no changes.
Okay, very good. Is there a motion to adopt the meeting minutes as is?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Oh, okay, we have been. Okay. That's right, you were not here.
Wait for you
Very
to
good.
second and you couldn't.
Excellent.
I couldn't.
You made sure you were keeping up with yourself there. Very good. Thank you, sir. You were not here at the last meeting. That's good. Okay. Very good. Thank you, sir. So the meeting minutes have been adopted unanimously. Citizen time. I don't know if any members of the public here to speak to a item not on the agenda, so thank you. New business. We have no new business this evening. We have no unfinished business this evening. And we will be doing this evening a work session, updating, modifying the comprehensive plan's goals and objectives. We appreciated the time at the last meeting with our city manager who took the time to start going through the goals from chapter 5. And so we appreciate, we'll more formally do that this evening, and then we'll take it step by step moving forward. But thanks again for your time, and we appreciate the chance to coordinate with you. Absolutely. Would you like to just more briefly go through? I mean, you went through, I know you went through the items in that chapter, but if you'd like, we can go through them again now and then just say whether we agree that they should be removed, or if something should be combined, or if something should be updated. Is that fair?
Yeah, Mickey, do you have anything to kick this off?
No, I'm here, well, if you wanted to start from last time, I mean, I have it in Word to edit.
Fine.
I guess I'd have to really kind of look at the minutes of what we discussed to go
Well,
over the last.
Sure. I know there was one of them, especially Alana captured that in it, that ED1, the recommendation was to remove action strategy ED 1.1. Actually, it just says under ED1 remove. Is that what
All right,
ED
I think it's
1.1
action-
it
yeah.
looks like is the one that she's
It's no longer
indicated was to be removed.
Yep. Here we go.
That came under the city development
Right.
of the city hall property.
Right.
Well, let's see. So parcels that front on Manassas Drive between railroad tracks and Andrew Drive should not be allowed to be rezoned. Okay. That kind of already happened. I think that's why it's really mixed use. So do you want to change that to a new goal that, well, I guess that, I mean, all those parcels are pretty much spoken for already.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
except for
really-
those
The one on
two,
Digital Drive, I
yes,
think,
correct.
is the last remaining one, which is
Right.
light industrial. So, yeah.
So is it no longer needed or?
ED 1.4 would remain.
Yeah, I don't think there's any commercial viability in that parcel on Digital Drive, except if you want light industrial. I think that's or storage, commercial storage spaces are another use. So, yeah, I think this was probably intended for when there was less development.
That was there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That ship kind of sailed, I think.
Okay. So if we were to agree with removing it, that would be fair.
Yeah. Do you want to replace it with city should continue to encourage additional commercial development? Well, this is specifically targeting an area, but
Yeah.
throughout the city center redevelopment district,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Continue to do what is possible to encourage. I'm not sure what kind of language we would throw in there, but
The only lot available is the one digital in Manassas
yeah.
Drive, right?
Yep. That's what I'm thinking. Just overall in the downtown, we should consider or just continue to push for additional commercial development where feasible, right? Because I don't think that lot's feasible. The only interest I've gotten in that lot has been commercial storage. So something that the city wants to do. It doesn't really bring a lot of revenues.
No.
I'm not sure it's a great site for that one. But that one's also privately owned. I'm not sure what it's currently zoned industrial, so they have by right uses that can go in that are industrial.
Okay.
Doesn't really fit the neighborhood, but we already have, there's already a light industrial facility there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the current ED 1.1 is totally removed and there'll be new words there.
Yeah.
correct?
Yep. Yeah, it should be replaced with city should encourage commercial development throughout the city where feasible. I think that's a stronger, because that takes into market reality of what sites do you have commercial viability and make sure we get commercial uses in those sites. That's kind of the best way to do
At
this.
some point in this discussion tonight, do we have a list of still available properties to be developed?
There's not that many, so I can probably tell you, there's going to probably be a lot of redevelopment opportunities of industrial, like we're doing here in the downtown, where a lot of the older industrial facilities were purchased and then redeveloped into mixed-use downtown style town center developments. When you do the math, the tax return on investment is just so much higher on those. So I think but from undeveloped remaining land, you really just have, on the other side of the tracks, you have about 3 parcels, one in front of the Palisades apartment. And maybe you want me to open up a map
Well,
and
we
just show you?
really,
or-
for a good discussion, we really need to know what is still out there for us to use.
There's not that much. It's 3 parcels.
Is there anything at all over in Old Town, around the police department, any of that property? over
That's
there?
one, but it's all developed out. There is a public works building there. I'm hoping to find a new home to move the public works out of there and then complete Kent Village Square with like a Hispanic grocer in that site. That's one of the targets.
Existing building would be raised and
Correct, and construct a new one, do a whole new site with parking to met. So that's,
We're gonna put that in words here.
you could, but I think, again, cities should encourage commercial development throughout the city where feasible. That covers that, because that is feasible. You have a commercial, it's currently public facility, but it's not a suitable home for that government entity. We're trying to find a new home for that government entity.
Purpose.
Yeah, once we do that, then that site can be repurposed now for commercial, and clearly there's market viability. The shops,
And
yeah.
what is that zoned right now?
I think it's PF,
Which
yeah,
is just government uses,
Mm-hmm.
so.
yeah.
Because I know the old 7-Eleven is reused into something else that faces Manassas Drive.
It's still 7-Eleven.
Is it still?
Yeah, it's still 7-Eleven, yep, and they
I'm
redid,
talking about a different building then.
Talking about a police station.
I'm talking about the couple of little buildings right in front of the
Oh,
Public
the
Works
old-
building. Doesn't that used to be a 7-Eleven?
oh, it's a restaurant. Yeah, it's currently a restaurant. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But again, like if you go there on the weekend in Ken Village Square, you're getting a lot of people. It's really tapping into the think of our city as kind of three parts. And we've been having this conversation with our branding team as well, where you have the west side, the center, and the east side, right? And the center is really more expansive than I think we've originally talked about it. But if you think of everything on 28, it's almost like a commercial and high density residential area. You think about Route 28 and everything east until Digital Drive, you either have high density residential, commercial, or industrial uses. West of 28, it's primarily residential with a neighborhood shopping center called Kent Village Square. East of Digital Drive, primarily residential with a neighborhood shopping center called the Andrew Drive Shopping Center, right? So you kind of have two neighborhood commercial. That's where I think you can continue to have there's no more development that can occur, around the Andrew Drive area. I guess across the street, technically you could, if there's viability there.
Small portion right there behind the welcome sign where it says.
Correct.
Crossing.
That's probably the last
right
piece.
there?
Yeah, that's the last piece. But again, Andrew Drive, it depends on the uses you're going to have there, because those businesses, again, you can't really do more than that in that area. The market just doesn't bear more demand, and businesses struggle kind of to keep going in that shopping center. So hopefully, with the downtown and everything else, we can help that shopping center continue to thrive and survive. So I'm not sure you can get additional retail down there. I don't think there's more demand for retail, but potentially medical offices is something that I have been exploring in that area, because you have the senior apartments there, right? So that's potential. So that's, again, that would fall under commercial, if you want to consider commercial, retail, office, non-industrial. Yeah.
What about on the corner of West Carondelet and Manassas Drive, the hill in front of the school? That's still steady.
Yeah, but I don't think you have any commercial viability there.
But you'd have to really knock down that hill and level it out to make it really usable.
Yeah, but if we're talking about commercial uses there, I don't think there's any viable commercial uses in that. Yeah.
You mentioned, Laszlo, 3 sections of the city. We have to be able to tie those 3 sections together. I don't know if you hear the kind of talk I hear, but there are people still talking about over there and over there.
Yeah.
We have to reunite those 3 sections. We have to have a way to tie them together so they're not them and us, or us and them.
I agree with
I
that.
personally don't like that.
Yeah, that's why I think kind of
So we need to find a way to unite.
Yeah, and I think that if you see kind of the branding stuff that we're coming up with, it's kind of unifying themes across the 3 kind of
The
similar
wording is
similar
very
branding. The original logo there, we briefed the EDA. We're still kind of refining it before it goes to governing body, but it's kind of like a tree that has 3 components to it, right? And the center, what they're calling Park Central, right? The top part is kind of lit up, but you have all 3 different elements that kind of develop one brand of the entire city of Manassas Park, and they have kind of banners and other stuff that when you're in the west, right, it has kind of the Park West, Park Central, Park East, but with very similar kind of branding for all of them to kind of unite us, focusing on the term park, right? So that's one effort. I'm not sure really if that's going to unify everyone. The goal of the downtown, though, again, is to bring, it's a start. It's to bring everyone together in this Park Central, which again is is for everyone, right? It's
Again, we are one city. We're not three
Yeah.
sections of a city.
correct.
We're all here together.
Absolutely, yeah. So for undeveloped lots, again, that have some commercial viability, you're probably counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if you want to count the public works building, 5. So not that much left. Redevelopment is a separate story, right? I think there's additional redevelopment opportunities for the downtown, but for undeveloped land or existing government building that can be redeveloped. But again, that kind of falls more into redevelopment, I would argue. So it's really for undeveloped parcels, it's really 4. It's the 3 across the railroad track. And those are going to be a little questionable. I'm not sure in reality we should have them be commercial. There's the ones that are on the other side of the Palisades that I would argue should actually be more parkland, and we should connect the Signal Hill trails to Manassas Drive through that stretch. And whatever developer is going to do on the Palisades stuff, anything else, or the Digital Drive property, we should have them, this happens to be the same owner, force them to develop a pocket, the park to extend Signal Hill Park out to Manassas Drive to trail to service all the people in Park Central, right? All those high density residential who don't have direct park access, provide them park access and build a dog park. There's a lot of dog owners. And actually with the survey for the branding, and the surprising part is like people want the city to be more dog friendly, right? But you have people who are scared of dogs and they have a right to use parks without living in fear of a dog coming off a leash. Unfortunately, people don't comply with that law enough. And so we do as much enforcement as we can with that. But having multiple dog parks where people can bring their dogs, let them loose inside the park in a safe way and give more green space amenity, I would argue that's a better use for that parcel than commercial. So that's why I say where feasible, but that shouldn't restrict us from saying, well, does it have to be commercial? Like, should we ignore the benefits that parks, and especially with our name, right? We're very proud of our park system, but we want to keep that open to, to all the community. And our eastern half of our city has the majority parks with Signal Hill Park and Blooms. Right. We have Costello on the west, and then we have the smaller kind of neighborhood parks on the west. In the center, we kind of need a park, and maybe that's a good site for, again, because any commercial development there is going to be. I think in the long run, you may have some changing dynamics with the VRE. If it's going to reach its potential with Amazon and have additional reverse service as well, right? If people go back to public transportation, which, crossing your fingers, that is going to happen here over the next year, then you're going to have, your market may change. And at that point, the city should reevaluate its market demand. But that doesn't mean we should also not think about things like parks, right? And green spaces for our community. Yeah.
This is just a comment, and with what you just said about the VRE ridership, if it doesn't pick up and increase again when things become more open, is there a possibility the parking garage could go away?
They have the funding, right? And
but could they back out on it because the VRE, if the ridership isn't there, could they say we don't need the parking?
I wouldn't be able to answer that in terms of the funding. Yeah.
It could happen.
I mean, everything could be in trouble if that does. But I would say it could be. It's going to take a while for people to get back to it. But if people start going back to the office and driving, and traffic continues to get worse and worse, it becomes a cost-benefit analysis. Right. And I think you're going to have people saying, "Okay, let's give this a shot again."
With our city development, we want it.
Yeah.
We want it for sure.
Yeah, we definitely need
it. Opportunity for others who may not have used it before or whatever. So it doesn't mean it's a zero sum. It just maybe
that
may
just
take
popped in my
a
mind when you said that. I went, oh my gosh, that could happen.
Yeah, they're not expecting ridership, or at least the Metro came out with this. I don't think they're expecting ridership to come back to normal until 2022. Yeah. So it's going to take some time, but I think again, it's really going to take people driving in horrible traffic again for a 6-month period to say, okay, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I was one of those people before commuting into DC from Loudoun County, and it's not fun. Yeah, and then you start looking at public transportation options where you can take a nap instead of dealing with traffic and just enjoy life a little bit more than having to fight your way there. So that's the hope, that it is going to come back. enforced. But it's just going to take some time, I think, for people to go back to the office.
Yeah.
So again, I think redevelopment is the critical piece, right? I think there's areas that we can consider redevelopment as the downtown becomes successful, as our market transforms. Cross your fingers, VRE, everything's going great. That's going to be a good opportunity, I think, is continual redevelopment of older industrial sites for higher usage commercial or mixed use.
Would this be a spot to recognize both, to include the redevelopment as well, or is it better to?
Let me see, look at number 2, Mickey, does that kind of cover that? So parcels north of Manassas Drive along Euclid Drive should be rezoned. Well, that's a little limiting, I think.
Yeah.
Right, because we're talking about,
Just overall.
and I don't even know direction, I guess it would be south of Manassas Drive as well. We've been looking at that with phase 4
Yes.
and phase 5. So maybe it's parcels within, adjacent to this, to the, well, I guess some of them are part of the city center redevelopment district, right?
Yeah. We could say.
Maybe that should say east and west of Euclid Avenue, because that would cover all Euclid Avenue, everything east and west.
Yeah, but I'm thinking Manassas, like the other side of Manassas Drive as well. So it's almost like.
Oh, I thought we were talking about ED 1.2 there.
Yeah. So you're saying parcels, because they're saying north of Manassas Drive. So I know the directions, because Manassas Drive kind of loops. North is that way, right? But actually, a lot of our redevelopment efforts are on the other side. Okay. So this doesn't even match the reality of what we're doing.
Why don't we
So
just write along Euclid Drive? Parcels along Euclid Drive.
Yeah, that would cover, I think, I think that makes sense.
That's exactly Euclid Avenue, because that covers everything.
The entire
on that whole
stretch
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go the entire. After a while, again, especially with the future of office really in doubt, I'm not sure how much more redevelopment, but there may be continual opportunities if the theater's successful, if everything's kind of successful. There may be additional opportunities for them to change your market reality and get more commercial development, higher revenue generating commercial versus industrial. I think you've had a change, and I think Chris Himes is doing this analysis right now. As we look at our industrial center, you have a much larger mix of vehicle maintenance businesses that just don't return the same tax revenues as light manufacturing. So I think in the 80s, when they developed the center, that saved the city. If you look at kind of the history of the city, it was very similar to kind of what was happening over the last few years where they were struggling financially. The city made some smart moves in terms of allowing for the industrial development, so commercial development, but industrial. That gave them some good revenues. And I think there was more light manufacturing, but over I think in the 2000, and even I think when Chris was looking at this over the last 10 years even, there's just been a dramatic shift in more vehicle maintenance style businesses, which, we need, but they don't return the same return on investment, as a per unit basis. So that just hurts your tax base diversity. So I think that's why it's good to always have that option as we transform our market, if there's more demand, to allow for commercial uses to replace industrial uses when it's market feasible.
You have to jump back up there to one. Yeah, there you go.
I think we can probably get rid of that, right? Because I think now ED2
Takes care of
it kind of takes care of that.
Okay.
Parcels along Euclid Drive should be, well, maybe not rezoned. What do we want to say with that?
Well, they would have to be.
Okay, it should be rezoned to allow for, okay.
Right.
So that allows owner to come in and request to be
I
consistent.
mean,
Okay.
we, in order to do that too, we would have to amend the comp plan.
The comp plan, the map.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
okay.
comprehensive plan map to identify that as an area where we desire that
Okay.
type of use.
We have some of the parcels already identified
Yes.
there. So I guess someone could come in with the comprehensive or an amendment to the map as they want their parcel
Yes, correct.
included. Okay.
It could be done in conjunction with
Okay.
rezoning.
All right.
What if you said should be rezoned to encourage/allow commercial and office uses?
Well, it would probably be, should be city, or maybe it starts with city should encourage, right? Because that's, I'm trying to see here. Rezone to, because rezoning doesn't really encourage, it's just, it allows something to happen, right? Once you rezone something.
Encourage and allow redevelopment of, because it wouldn't necessarily have to be rezoned for redevelopment.
It would, right? Like you would have to rezone it for like if you want, let's say, I don't know, a grocery store.
Use, yes,
Yeah,
you
to
would
replace an industrial, it would have to be rezoned from I-1 to either B2 or, yeah, or MUD or however we decide to do it.
Yeah, encourage proposals for rezoning or something to that effect, something just open to repurposing and.
Well, actually, I think
How about
the bullet up there where it says city should encourage commercial development throughout the city where feasible, that's already kind of the guide that's what we should be doing, where feasible
Okay, we said
includes those
already, yeah.
industrial areas as well. Yeah, once it becomes market feasible.
Right.
Now, we're still not there. If the downtown is successful, then you may open up that opportunity. Yeah. All right. So that's the new ED 1.1, and then now we just amended ED 1.2.
I was concerned 1.3 might be too narrow, since it says, it doesn't specify which parcels it's talking about, and it said that they're going to be commercial or office. And since you just spoke about parks or other uses, might not, I just thought it would be too narrow, that we're just going to promote everything to be commercial or office.
Yeah, remaining parcels. I don't think remaining parcels is valid. It should just be aligned with where commercial is both feasible and desirable, right?
Yeah.
Because there could be areas again where we'd rather do a park than commercial use because we're just missing it in an area. The city should actively promote. Yeah, because we kind of cover that with one now, with
First
one
one,
point.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's just saying by so city should encourage development throughout the city where feasible via, maybe we just add via a marketing strategy in ED 1.1 because they're saying by marketing the property. So it just sounds like there's a desire to have a marketing strategy. Yeah.
Well, actually, you could elaborate on 1.1 and eliminate 1.3.
Yeah, I think that's what we're talking about here, where it's kind of redundant. If we just, the one piece that's missing in 1.1 is the mention of marketing.
Okay.
Yep, via a marketing strategy or via marketing. Yep. Okay. And then I think you're right, Martha. We can then delete that one.
Cool.
Yeah, 3's gone.
All right.
This one, can you clarify what these parcels are?
The digital drive.
Well.
Is that Dominion Crossing?
5 of them.
Yes, most of them are Dominion Crossing, and I think 3 is the existing
Industrial.
and I think there's 2 parcels
That
left
make
on
up
the
Digital Drive, okay.
The vacant
What's
ones.
left?
So
Yeah.
what's left? Yeah, so it used to be 1 through 7, but I think
It's no longer.
Oh, but
I
they.
think 4 through 7 actually.
probably
is
Dominion Crossing.
That's exactly
So
right,
we should
because
take
that's
it
the only
out?
place.
So it's already done then, yeah.
Yeah.
Yay, we did something.
So we accomplished that goal.
I'm living there.
Oh, is that where you live? Okay, good.
Sandra Place, right off of the.
So where you live was accomplished.
That's it.
City should remain an active partner in Park Center project. I'm assuming that's the city center.
Yeah, you can change that to downtown.
Uh-huh.
Well, we just learned that your house is going to be redeveloped.
My
so-
goodness gracious. I should start looking to get the highest price now.
Oh, well.
Anybody want to have some place?
I think
to
that's
move
still
into?
relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 1.5 is still relevant.
Yeah.
That's kind of ongoing.
And then just renumber it.
It should be
Yes, that'd be
1.3.
4.
Yeah, make it
Is it 3 now? Yeah, you're right. It's 3. So we reduced our goals.
Excellent,
Oh,
excellent.
I like
We can
it.
concentrate more on the goals that exist rather than too many. It's cool.
All right. Is there anything else we think we should add to this?
We want to talk about maybe identifying reuses for the Connor Center or vision,
Oh,
something
you're
like
talking about for industrial
Well,
Yeah.
you know, at least consider
Because this is
that.
the economic development chapter, so because I think we talk about Route 28 redevelopment shopping centers. Is there nowhere else where we talk about? I thought like below maybe I thought we had let me reread this.
This ED1 is just the undeveloped parcels.
Okay, so that's what it's focused. This section you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. City should explore. So why don't we break it up by
So I think ED3 would
city
be where
should guide the development of the remaining.
you would talk about redevelopment.
So maybe we need to rephrase that first goal ED1
Finish up
Yeah,
one
'cause this
before
is
we
just-
jump into another.
before, yeah, but I think so ED, what is 2 should be economic development plan. 3, so you should work towards maximizing revenue existing. Okay. 3 kind of goes into what we were just talking about here.
The property beside Connor House, the school, is that privately owned or is that city property?
That's owned by Prince William County.
Prince William County, okay. So it kind of zigzags along through there.
Yeah, a little bit there.
So city should bring- Okay. Yeah, ED3 actually starts covering what you just discussed and also Route 28 or Manassas Park Shopping Center redevelopment. So let's look at these goals. The city should guide the development of undeveloped parcels, economic development plan. I would think the plan would come in first. The city should work toward maximizing the revenue. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I
So
think.
we're done with ED1? Is that what?
Yeah, although the overarching goal, so if you want to scroll all the way up, I think we need to rephrase that because we're not just talking about undeveloped parcels here. We're really talking about commercial development in this section, right? The way it's written right now, it's really more of a commercial development category.
And redevelopment, right? To add both to
Development slash.
Yeah, development.
and redevelopment
Yeah.
areas in there.
But it's not just for undeveloped parcels.
Right.
That's the thing. So the city should guide the commercial development, redevelopment
Of all parcels in the city,
of feasible parcels,
Yeah.
feasible, that makes
of
sense.
feasible parcels of the city. Yep. Okay, and then that covers. Okay. Okay. And ED2. Yeah, we're kind of doing ED2 already as I read. So I think it's still actually, it works still, right?
Is it in progress still? There hasn't been one prepared and need to be updated? It's still in progress?
It's a generic kind of presentation that I did to the governing body, and I always do to new council members as well, where I just kind of give them an overview
Okay.
of what's happening economically. And unfortunately, a lot of the data we just don't have because of the state laws with the Commissioner of Revenue, and so it's very generic, our analysis. And
You've been forced to keep it generic because you don't have the...
yeah, I can't have this. So in Lovettsville, when I worked there, I had access to all business license data.
Okay.
So I could see how businesses were performing on a year-to-year basis, right? I'm going to try to get that with a new GIS platform that does it by generic industry
Okay.
and see if I can't get that to
Come into it
function.
from another-
Because then that would be legal for me to have, because it doesn't talk about specific businesses.
Okay.
So that's the goal. Then I can start providing a little bit more, but we already have a general understanding, right? Without having to develop a full-on plan. But we've done the generic analysis with the governing body. We actually hired 2 consulting firms. One was just a quick snapshot that I did when I first started here, a very small contract, and then a big one, which was a company called Street Sense. That did a very deep dive on commercial, because that was our strategy. We haven't looked into industrial redevelopment yet, because we want to focus on our downtown. So they did the full analysis of what's viable here, and then some concept plans. So we've done that for where we want to focus right now, which is the downtown. Doesn't mean we're not looking at 28 in industrial center. We can certainly take those do additional analyses for those 2 areas as well. Then we're slowly doing analysis. I'm applying for a grant to do a grocer analysis as the next step. Okay. So we'll eventually get to industrial. Chris is, I think, reaching out to different consultants who may be able to help us out with that. And then 28 we're going to look at eventually as well.
Can this be updated then to express where we are moving forward, or because if it
maybe it prioritizes, right?
Okay,
maybe that's what you guys want to do.
It sounds like you have a plan. It may not be as detailed as you need it to be, but you got something to work with, and then so
all I would probably add here is prioritizing the downtown development, right? Because everything else is really contingent on that being successful
and going, and then
correct. While also then evaluating industrial center redevelopment and Route 28 shopping center redevelopment. But some of these are going to help each other, right? So as we're doing downtown development, there's interest from some of these businesses on our Route 28 area as well. So I think what we're doing here in the downtown is not only going to allow for redevelopment of industrial areas for commercial uses, it's also going to put us on the map for Route 28 redevelopment as well. So that's why downtown priority is number 1.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know if you guys want to add some language like that, but I think this works, right? So participate in regional economic forums. So my assistant Chris Himes does that already. So he participates in the chamber. We participate in the regional economic developers forum as well. So staff is already doing that. Examine ways for marketing Manassas Park more competitive. We're under the process of branding right now, doing the branding exercise. It's kind of step 1 for that. So I think these action strategies are actually relevant. I still think they are relevant. Yeah, I think they're good enough.
Was that what you had there, Mickey? Was that dealing with redevelopment that you were going to put in there?
Well, I was gonna kind of talk about the, after the downtown development, look at the potential for economic development on the Route 28 and
Why don't we just in the main, the bolded one? Right. So the city should prepare an economic development plan, first prioritizing the development of the downtown, followed by industrial and Route 28 redevelopment. Comma, that will examine the current. Okay. Yeah. So I'd probably add a comma after economic development plan also.
Yeah.
Prioritizing the downtown, followed by Route 28 and the industrial center. And that doesn't mean we're going to ignore Andrew Drive and Kent Village either. It's just those are smaller.
Sure.
Those are just kind of. The market is what it is for Andrew Drive Shopping Center. Hopefully, with everything that we're doing now, just add to that. And then Kent Village is just that last piece, which requires us to move the Public Works building out. But we know
maximize certain areas that can be maximized.
Correct. And the biggest bang for that's kind of more. It's a good commercial project to have a small grocer there. It's going to help us with revenue. It's just not a game changer, but it's really more of a community amenity.
Yes.
Right. It's directly servicing the neighborhood in that area.
Right. Yeah. To go over to Harris Teeter or go down to Giant.
Well, there I always I gave the example. So if you're on Liberia, right?
Yep.
There's a Walmart and there's a Harris Teeter.
Yes.
Right. I don't deal with it's the parking lot for Walmart's crazy.
One that's there too.
There's the other one there. Correct. So for the western half of our city and the demographics there for the Hispanic community, there's Megamart, which is on Prince William County side.
Okay.
That's more like Walmart if you want to think about it for getting in and out and just dealing with a huge crowd. Yeah. What's missing is the quote unquote Harris Teeter, the smaller version.
Yep.
So that I think we can get done in Kent Village Square to service that entire region when they don't want to go to Megamart.
Sure.
Megamart's you're not going to be able to compete with Megamart, but there's going to be times where you're just not going to want to have to deal with the craziness that is Megamart.
Gives an option to,
correct. Just an easier shopping experience than having to fight in the to get a parking space and wait in line and
prepare myself.
Would we qualify for that Whole Foods? What is it?
365.
360.
I think they stopped doing 365s. I don't know if they've restarted.
They've just built one over in Fairfax.
Yeah, but that was planned a few years ago. I'm not sure they're expanding the product anymore. I'm not sure we would qualify for that. I think if the downtown is successful, then maybe they could relook at that. Amazon Fresh is another one too. That's up and coming. I know, but again, Amazon's coming to this market. Yeah, Amazon's coming to this market. That's why they're starting to build out in this market. They want their employees to live near metro stations and VRE stations.
Ready to open almost.
Yeah, so that's why that could be a viable, but that's why I want to do the grocer consulting report first. And so I'm in the process of applying for a grant.
Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
No, you had to do a deep dive, right?
You know, go there occasionally, but not to grocery shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, there's no kind of fresh market in this region. That's what I will say. And again, if you have a successful downtown that's pulling people, like with the movie theater, that's pulling people from a larger swath, you create a new market.
Right.
That's the goal. So that's why grocers right now don't want to come here. They want to see what happens with the downtown.
Have anything else to draw the
Correct.
people in.
And normally it's opposite, right? Grocers drive people there, right? But these specialized ones, not necessarily the case, right? If you have a successful town center, then maybe that's when they'll want to join to be a part of that, right? But so because again, you're creating that new market.
I'm
If you
picturing Fairfax Corner, there's nothing grocery-wise over there.
because you have the Wegmans like a couple
but
blocks
it's
up
not-
and Whole
yeah,
Foods.
okay.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that kills any chance of having.
Anything come
Yeah,
up there.
Wegmans and Whole Foods, because they have a Wegmans and a Whole Foods within like a mile and a half of each other. Good luck. I don't know how that Safeway 2 blocks down the street there survives.
Exactly.
But I guess it's that going back to my example of the Walmart and versus Harris Teeter, where some people maybe don't want to deal with the Wegmans or Whole Foods because of how packed it is, and we'll just go to that Safeway down there. Yeah. But so there's potential. I do believe there's potential for a small, fresh market, but you have to be first successful in your downtown. The theater deal has to be done. They have to start, constructing. People have to start coming to this downtown, and then someone will take a serious look at it. But if I have all the data to kind of back me up along with the success of everything,
Show you what works.
yeah, then I can show them what works, including concept planning. So we're taking kind of the street sense approach that we did for the whole downtown. I'm trying now to do specifically for grocers, looking at the downtown and the Kent Village Square area to give me the data to help recruit grocers.
Can you scroll that back up just a minute? There you go. Prioritizing the downtown fund around 28 and Connerson.
Yeah, she wanted to see the ED too.
Yeah, thank you.
You can scroll down. Okay, so ED3. Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't have any issues with these. No. Yeah, these are pretty consistent still with what we're doing.
Is there anything else that would need to be added, or is that good for this section?
I think that's good.
Covers
You
it all,
talk about planning, right, which is kind of I still think that you're doing it the right way.
You got a plan?
ED2 should be ED1.
Yeah, okay.
Right, where you get
Yeah,
the planning
true.
in place, have your data in place,
And then begin to
start
market.
aggressively pursuing
Right.
commercial, which is your priority goal, then redevelopment.
Okay.
But it's fine. I mean, that's just kind of
It's all within the same area.
Yeah, it's in the
just
same
So we
section,
really
so-
didn't do any changes to 2 and 3.
Yeah, 2 and 3 were pretty good actually. They were pretty relevant still, and actually 1 wasn't bad. It's just history has happened, and Dominion Crossing was developed,
Take
and
away what's already being done.
correct. Yeah, so it was successful, right? Like some of the things were already
One gets
done.
a
Yeah.
thumbs up. It's
So
all
far, so
done.
good.
Green check there. Done.
I think all this now, this updated version is very much in line, I think. And we really didn't change that much from what existed before. So it's still, I think, good because you don't want to every year or two change your comprehensive plan. You want it to guide. And so what they were talking about historically is pretty close to what we're still doing. It's just what they were really missing, which was that word feasible.
Okay.
That was the key. When they came up with that 60-40 split and other things, you got to look at the market feasibility side. And I think that's what we're more mature as a city now. We're doing that.
Able to do that. Okay.
So what we do here is we re-examine, update. 3 years later, we go and look at it and say, okay, that was accomplished.
Yeah.
Now let's make a new.
Yeah, I think
So
that's
that's what
fine.
we're
I think
doing
that's
now.
consistent
Okay.
with good comprehensive planning. Yeah.
I mean, if it didn't work, then we know we have to go back here and
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
Pull on
relook.
board
Yeah.
and, reconsider.
That's why 2 and 3 are really good though, because they're generic enough where they can be a long-term guide for what you should be doing. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else we were looking at here?
Well,
I think that
that's
was it
all
for the economic development. Okay.
Yeah. The next.
Do we want
chapter is
to, are we good with, so far? Do we want to wait for next time for the next chapter? Are we good for?
See how involved it could get.
Sure. Maybe we can start if we'd like and then. cut it off.
Parks and Rec.
Where do we start?
There are quite a few, quite a few here.
I'm not sure we want to start on that.
Okay, all right.
But quite frankly, for our work, I would like to see us do one and not have to stop in the middle because it's getting late. I'd like to be able to complete
Finish
one
one.
whole chapter and move on to the next one.
Yeah, and maybe we
I don't know how you all
can
feel.
coordinate to have Jay
Because your
do
thought
that.
pattern
here
is
for the
there.
parks one.
Yeah.
Oh,
And a
yeah,
month
that would be a
later,
good
you're
idea.
Talking about it, and it's like, what did we talk about last?
Yeah, I
month?
forgot
So,
already what we talked about the last meeting.
Yeah, look at him,
And we can,
right there on your computer.
and we'll have the rewritten first section there
Yeah,
for
already there.
when we get our notes and
Yeah.
all that. We can just take a look at that and come back in the next meeting. We could just make sure we're all good with it and then go into the next chapter. Is that fair? Cool.
Just clarify, you guys want to go in this order, so next time would be Parks and Rec?
Are you fine with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we'll make
because the
sure
only one I
to,
really dwelt on this tonight was chapter 5.
if you want to send this to Jay and
I
CC
will.
me, and then I'll tell him just to
Okay.
take a look at it and see what's still
See what-
consistent with
okay.
what we do from a Parks and Rec standpoint.
Cool. That'll be good to have him here.
Yeah,
Because certainly Alana knows what's going on more than John probably keeps up, but I keep pretty close because I am part of that advisory council. But I check in with Jay just to see what's happening, what he's planning and what staff's doing, so,
yeah.
I think I'm comfortable with being able to do Parks and Rec without too much input from his staff.
Okay, yeah, I would just have Jay
Just-
alone, just, take a look at it.
Yeah, my question is, would he have time to browse through this before we take a look at it next time?
Well, that's why we'll send this to him. I'll see kind of how much time he needs, and maybe we can schedule the Parks and Rec review based off that. Maybe it's more like an August thing versus, I don't know if
Yeah,
you discussed the July meeting yet or not, because you're, I guess what?
Yeah, we haven't.
Okay. Do you guys want to meet in July or take that month off?
Well, we're in
I'm
the
ready to
motion.
take
Are we
off the
fine?
rest of summer, so.
That's what some boards do that, I think, yeah.
I mean, we're in a flow with going through the goals. Are we,
Well, if it's
Fine,
gonna
but-
take Jay a little bit,
We can go on to
maybe
the
we
next-
do wanna skip July and meet with him in August.
When is July the 14th?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't be here. Sorry.
July.
Vacations usually,
Well, right,
yeah,
there
July and
is.
August.
And I'm doing a lot of traveling. I don't think any of my away time, I've tried to look at my calendar
Yeah.
and say Wednesdays are open. I'm not on a bus going somewhere.
Yeah, and then August, I don't think I'm going to be in town for the 18th.
Okay.
Yeah, I spoke with Jay recently to ask him if he could find time to do a Parks and Rec
Advisory board. meeting.
advisory account, especially now that Laura's new
Yeah.
on it. And just to bring us up to date, we kind of know what's going on, but a little more detail. And he said, Martha, I just don't have time right now. He said, with the budget and everything.
Yeah, budget's really tough.
Yeah, and just getting the center back open and going full
Yeah.
bore and.
And just
I
as
told-
as we think we're wrapping up the budget,
Suddenly-
find out today, okay, we're getting this federal money.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to do a second budget now in July for the governing body with this federal money that we have now. So I'm gonna get staff's input. So we're probably gonna be busy here still this summer now with planning this usage of what the federal money, understanding eligible expenses. And
New money.
It's a good problem to have. It's just it's a lot of work.
Hey, we're not
Yeah.
getting money I didn't
That's right.
expect.
I mean, you didn't want a summer vacation, did you?
No, I'll have to work though. That's the only problem. But yeah.
So we're good for not having a meeting in July. We're fine
Skip
with
to
that.
August.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be
And
here.
then, and I'm flexible in days of the week. I mean, not different Wednesdays other than the set Wednesday.
That's true, me too. If you want to.
Okay. It's good to know.
So how long is this Parks and Rec?
You can
one?
be here or not be here, huh?
There's several.
No,
You gotta check with
I
your-
always go to look at
You
my
have to look-
schedule.
You have to
And
check.
for the
with-
last 2 years, there's not a whole lot on the schedule, so I'm pretty,
That's
Yeah, you
nice.
have to-
pretty available.
You have to check with your social.
It's still 3 pages.
Hey.
I think we can. Yeah.
Have somebody else tell you what you are doing,
Jay.
what you're not doing?
Can we schedule a meeting with them? The three of us, and we can start going over it. So that way, if I'm not able
How'd
to
that
make it,
happen?
leave.
Gotta
my
gotta
favorite.
mow the grass.
How'd that
Gotta
happen?
be
That's
home
right.
today.
I think I'm flying that day.
Alright, so August 11th, Parks and Rec with Jay.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, that'll be good.
August 11th will be our next meeting. We'll do Parks and Rec with
I think
Jay.
Jay wrote this one that's on here.
So he probably thinks it's
Probably
perfect.
I think he did write this one. if I remember
Okay, so
correctly.
that'll make it easier for him
So
then.
August 11th, that'll be our next.
August 11th, is that the date? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll be in California. I may be able to call in via.
We don't need you if we have
Jay
Jay.
will be here, so.
I have to start bringing my calendar with me because I'm traveling so much now
I gotta let the governing
with
body
my
know.
mask.
I got my tickets.
Good. So this is good for all of us then,
Yeah.
Laszlo, and Megan, you're good for this too? Good. Well, we appreciate that. Great. Cool.
Okay, next meeting.
August 11th.
Okay.
Very good. So we'll just finish up here if everybody's good. All set, everybody, all
Yes.
saved and ready to go?
Yes, all
Good.
saved.
Okay, very good, thank you. So no report of special committees. Informational update from community development staff.
Just a few things to update you. We are working on a commercial vehicle ordinance to assist in, well, there's two components. One on the street, which is really not the purview of the planning commission, but the one, commercial vehicles on private property. So it's really two different sections, and we intend to bring that to you in August.
Okay.
So,
Fine.
How is that worded right now? Because I saw just in my travels a public hearing advertisement, same subject, commercial, recreational, and all trailers. Trailers were not part of the recreation. Do we have ours pretty much covered like that, or does it just say
I think ours
commercial?
does distinguish, right?
yeah, it does
Like for boats
distinguish,
and
and we're trying
RVs
to, make our definitions is one of the critical components of this ordinance. So we can define everything, and identify exactly what a commercial vehicle is. We did have a conversation about, it may be a van, but it may have all the, work appurtenances on top,
Accoutrements.
the ladders and the
Yeah.
racks and other equipment up there. So
Considered
we are looking at language that kind of describes that it may be a non-commercial vehicle, but it has commercial characteristics. So it'll be better defined than that. But so that's what we're looking at.
So are we only looking at commercial, or are we including recreational?
Oh, no, yes,
the above.
it's
It
all of
covers everything,
those
good.
three. And they tend to be different definitions because, one's actually an auto, one that can drive itself, self-propelled, right? And a trailer you drag behind. And then, of course, a recreational vehicle, and even may get so specific where when you mean recreational vehicle, you mean actually the ones that you live in or,
Well, an
temporarily.
RV can be,
Right.
size of a big car.
That's
or
right.
it could fit in this room.
Yes.
Yep.
You know,
correct.
so you got a wide spread of
That's right.
recreational vehicles. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll go over all those. We did have a pretty good discussion this week on it, so.
Yeah, because if anybody finds a loophole and you find a Winnebago sitting on my neighbor's yard, and I go, well, that.
Excuse me?
But they say it doesn't say it here, doesn't say it. So you gotta be
Right.
careful, yeah.
Yes, I mean, you're right.
I mean,
That's
I'm
absolutely-
preaching to the choir here, but I mean, certainly we want to cover everything
Uh-huh,
Before it happens.
before we put it in place,
Right.
yeah.
yes.
So that's going to be an important meeting to just really spend some time going over that.
And who's
And
doing that? Just
the edits.
the staff and city council, okay.
No, well, there's two parts. There's the
Yeah.
parking on the streets. That's just going to be the governing body, but we're getting support of the city attorney and looking at other jurisdictions like Fairfax City, who probably have the best ordinance, Falls Church, Manassas, Fredericksburg, see what they have, what's legally viable. But then there's the zoning element, which is on the private property, and the definitions. And that's something you all will be looking at
Okay.
before it goes to the governing body to make your recommendations on those
Well, in
edits.
this one I saw, the advertisement, it was just for one side of the street.
Was
So
this
you're
for
gonna have-
Manassas Park?
So, no.
Or
no,
it was
no.
somebody
I seen it in
else.
my
Okay.
travels.
Oh, okay.
It was restricting on this side, but now this side's gonna be loaded up.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
You know, whoa. Why not make both sides, you know? But we'll see.
Right, well, and the plan is to, per the governing body, limit the parking of commercial vehicles between
8 a.m.
Yeah,
and
the time.
I'm sorry, 8 p.m.
8 p.m. and
a.m.
8 a.m., yes,
on the streets
On the
and
street.
then on residential to 2.
to 2.
So like Fairfax City, they only allow 1. We know we're a little bit more blue collar community here, so we want to. So
Well,
I think
like
we
if
did
it's a
2.
home business, but you have a vehicle, say I'm a plumber and I'm a one-man operation but I have my service vehicle, where am I supposed to park it? My business is here.
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
That,
yeah,
yeah,
so you
that's why
really
they're
have-
making the exception.
Right.
Yeah. the
And
2.
even we're amending the home occupation regulations to specifically say that your home occupation vehicle where you are allowed one is counts as one of the vehicles, because it's kind of unclear in the current ordinance, because it says you can have one commercial vehicle. So does that mean your home occupation vehicle, or does that mean you get another one? So that is an inconsistency. in
Well,
the
and if you have
ordinance.
magnetic advertisement that you can take off and say it's,
That's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, right, and we,
It is and it
we have
isn't.
to,
it's not a commercial anymore.
No.
right,
So it's all kinds of,
Wait.
yeah, the guy down the street's a carpenter and he has his work vehicle, but he doesn't need all the stuff that the plumber needs.
Yeah.
And he said, well, why can't I park? He can. Well, read it.
And the goal again is just to tap down on the abuse of just like
Yeah, yeah.
one
It
home
certainly
having
is, yeah.
5 or 6 commercial vehicles
Row-
parking down along the street and taking away
Well, all you see
residential.
is-
Yeah.
Oh, if it's there.
And it makes it look like, gee, that house must be being remodeled. You know, all the workers are here.
Because we get complaints from it's just a lack of parking availability. So this will hopefully free up additional parking spaces for residential uses.
and hopefully by the end of the summer, we'll get a few site plans in. Probably should have some of the remainder of the downtown development site plans coming to you. And I do anticipate the rezoning for the downtown phase 4 to come in by the end of the summer. They're ramping up as I'm getting emails, so that application should be coming. So to me first, and probably won't come to you for a few more months, but we can anticipate
its
that.
way. Cool.
Yes, so that's really all I have. If you had any other questions.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Moved, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The time is 7:57.
Hey,
7:50.
it's a